What's up, y'all? This is Nathan Montagano, aka Nate the Insurance Great. My boy Javier wants me to go ahead and put a little bit of a vlog, if you will, I guess. That's what the kids are calling it these days, together about a quick backstory about myself. Where to start? I'm from a small town in Massachusetts called Whitman, population of about 1,500. One stop sign, actual, red, green, yellow stop sign. There was a couple flashers there, some here and there. So I grew up in a very small, white, non-cultured place. After all, it was called Whitman, Whitman, which might as well be white man. I moved down here to Florida, Bradenton, Florida, when I was the end of my eighth grade year, but going into freshman year of high school. So I came down here. I knew no one. It was a complete culture shock because I didn't have any other ethnicities other than white. There was one black kid. His name was Chris Robinson, one of my best friends. He was adopted. My father and I used to pick him up to and from football practice every day growing up. But I didn't have any culture in me when I came down here. Um, and that played a big impact on my life because when I got down here, my freshman year summer, my dad actually died in a hit and run motorcycle accident. The guy is still out there today. He has to live with that though, and I get to know and live with the pleasure of that my dad died doing the thing that he loved most in life. Um, After that, things got difficult, to say the least. I was very angry, mean, aggressive. Javier will be the first one to tell you that I was a real asshole, and I know that. Um, and I had a long way to go to get to where I am today. I sit here today. Obviously, I have a pretty suit on. Doing something that I love. I get to help people every single day. People think health insurance, they think boring, whatever. I think it's an opportunity to learn about something that I plan to change in the future in Congress, as well as along the way help people get the best health coverage in the country. If they can qualify for it, and if they can't, at least point them in a direction and get them heading to where they need to be, right? There's obviously a lot of filler in between there. After my dad died, it was my mom and I. My mom never worked a day in her life. So, as you can imagine, this was in 2006. So, right during the financial crash, everybody was losing everything. My mom and I lost our house pretty much right after my dad died. Once again, we had no income. And dad didn't have any life insurance. So it was pretty much definitely some tough times that ensued. As Javier can attest to, I was hanging out with the wrong crowd of people. I was racist for sure. I didn't know any better, and that's a stupid, silly, freaking excuse. But as you can see now, we got a guy like MLK sitting here everywhere I go. Because I know that I made mistakes, I made poor decisions, but I've grown and I've learned from them. I guess I don't know if I could say that I'm grateful for those times, but I definitely know that they happened for a reason. So after we graduated high school, before then I was pretty much living on the streets. I didn't really know where my next meal was coming from. I was actually taken in by, believe it or not, of course, a Cape Verdean family up in Massachusetts. Rainy Deers was my best friend Jerry. His mother's name, who I will love and would do anything in the world for, and in the drop of a hat. I mean, there's nothing she couldn't ask me for that she couldn't have. And this was one of my first real big eye-opening moments towards racism and towards entitlement and all that crap that came along with that. But her and I were sitting out on her porch, and she asked me, "Nate, do you know why I took you in?" I said, "Yeah, of course. Like Jerry and I are best friends. Like, I mean, I just assume that's what happens." And this was a big eye opener for me. Was she laughed and she said that couldn't have anything less to do with it. The reason that she took me in was actually because when she grew up with my father, she was, her family was the only black family in the entire school. And she said that no matter what, it didn't matter if it was, the one of the other captains of the football team, or the top cheerleader, or the valedictorian. If they said something about her skin tone, my dad would always stick up for her, and that went for her and her family. And that was one of my first real eye-opening experiences, that I was really, really making some big mistakes when it came to that aspect of life. Life didn't get any easier after that. That's for damn sure. At 18, I had already been on my own pretty much since I was pretty much like 14 or 15. 18, I got into the world of gambling. As a poker dealer, I made stupid money fresh out of high school, had zero financial literacy. So, of course, I blew it all on gambling. Imagine that, right? Um, so there were some topsy-turvy years there. I did in my early 20s also deal with addiction. I fell, I don't know if you could say fell to, but I was a part of the opioid crisis when it first came out in Florida, the pill capital of the world. I got mixed up in that. So I did that. I was an addict for about a year and a half, 2 years. I can hang my hat on the fact that I never stole from anyone, but that isn't an excuse. I did. I've been pretty much recovered now for quite some times. Quite some time, excuse me. And that is something, another passion of mine. Two things: one, ending racism; two, curing, sort of putting some kind of cure onto the opioid epidemic, excuse me, because I did fall victim to it. Uh, I don't like to say victim because I'm not a victim, right? Like I've everything. I take full control and full responsibility for any and all of my actions in my life. Including getting sober, staying sober, um, helping other people, trying at least to get them sober. Um, I stayed in the gaming industry for quite some time, from till I was about 27. 27, I bought my realistic dream car, which at the time was a 2014 Ford Fusion. Gorgeous car. Absolutely loved the car. Um, and I owned my own home. So I came to a pinnacle in life. And I had to ask myself, is this as good as it gets at 27? Is this all I was, destined for, or whatever? I'm not a religious person by any means. I believe that I control my own destiny. That's also come with time. But I knew I had more to give than what I was giving. So for me, it came down to, well, what's the thing that scared you most in life? What was I scared of more than anything else in life? Um, and I mean, in reality, it came down to failure, but it was school. I was dyslexic, ADHD, all that fun stuff. I really, honestly, until I was 27, I believed I was stupid. I was an idiot, couldn't read, couldn't write. Um, and if you asked me, I would have literally have told you exactly that. I'm stupid. I think I am unintelligent. I lack any level of intellect. Come to find out, I went to college. I was a 4.0 student, sat on 3 state executive boards. I was director of political action for the largest black student union in the country. And this was when I really started to open up my mind to see, that white privilege was a thing. I struggled with it for a long time because I've always been white, right? Like, it's never changed, never going to. But I didn't understand the privileges that came along with it, because my life was anything but privileged, right? Like being on your own since 14, being a drug addict, homeless, seeing the bottom of the barrel. Um, it's hard to say that that's a privilege, right? But that's not what we're talking about when we talk about white privilege. This isn't the time to get into that, but someday we will. And I will explain, because I believe that one of the reasons I am here on this planet is to help other people who are like me, who are white and don't understand what white privilege actually means. It doesn't mean that you live some privileged life and you had, were popping bottles of champagne when you were, a child, or your parents were having these extravagant, parties or anything like that. It just simply means when you walked in through a front door, I don't get the same look as someone who's black, right? I don't ever have to worry about people looking down aisles, or when ladies holding their purse close when I walk by, or a criminal justice system that supports the fact that being black is a crime in this country, especially if you're a male. Statistically speaking, 1 in 3 African American males between the age of 13 and 30 will be incarcerated in federal penitentiary. So that does actually stay directly that it is considered to be a crime to be black in this country, which is a freaking crying shame. And that's why I always keep MLK close to me. If you know me, if I don't have an MLK pin on, I have 4 or 5, paintings or posters in my house. I have his book on me pretty much at all times in my car, of all of his speeches. I usually watch his speeches every day. I think that, and it's not even just about the racism thing when it comes to MLK, right? For me, it's MLK. Why he inspires me so much is because he stood for something and he didn't care what anyone thought. His house was bombed. He was stabbed. He was imprisoned over, I think, 29 or 30 times, for standing up for what he believed in. And to me, that's what life should be about, right? It's like we should stand up for the things that we believe in. So I'm always going to be incredibly influenced by Martin Luther King. Other than my father, he is my hero. My dad is the number one ultimate hero in my life, though, because he gave me all the tools to become the man I am today. It took me some time to realize them. But, when he died, and we lived in a town of 1,500 people, and over 10,000 people showed up to his funeral, I didn't at the time realize what that meant, but now obviously I realize that spoke volumes about the man that he was. And that's why every day my main goal is to just try to be a little bit more like him. And I know that when I do, as I continue down that path, right, like I know that I'll always do the right thing because that's what he taught me. It doesn't have to be the popular opinion. It doesn't have to be what everyone else agrees with. But if you know in your heart that it's right, you do it. And that's what I do, right? So now, getting into my 30s, I'm actually about to be 32 here. Goodness gracious, Magic Johnson in about, what is it, 14 or 13 days. Uh, you know, I've found a career that I love. People think, oh, you sell health insurance, you're a health insurance person, like you're a salesman, you're a scumbag, you're this, you're that. I'll never ever put my own self profit over, or self gain over someone else and putting them in the right spot. I don't. That's not how I operate. If it was, I wouldn't plan to run for Congress in the next 10 years, and completely revolutionize the way politics are done in this country, because obviously things are broken, and we need to make some serious changes. However, my main thing now is that I just want to help as many people as I can when it comes to help, their health coverage and their health insurance, because before I started doing what I do, I didn't know what a deductible was. I had no idea what the public marketplace was. I didn't know the different networks. I didn't know that there was private health coverage. I knew I had a card that said I had insurance. I didn't know anything after that. I don't know what it cost me to do anything, if I was getting discounts on this or that or whatever. I was just told, hey, you work for a pretty good company. At the time, it was Charter Communications, which was a phenomenal company to work for. Don't get me wrong, they are awesome. I loved working for Spectrum and Charter Communications. Great leadership team. Took very good care of us employees. They actually did give us very good health insurance as well. But now the reason I'm so attracted to health insurance is because, one, main reason I got into it was because I do plan to run for Congress, and you can't change something that you know nothing about. And so as I continue to grow and to gain knowledge and educate myself, my goal is to give that back in return, right? And I just want other people to understand, when you do sign up for a policy, when you sign up for employer coverage, when you sign up for whatever it is, I want you to know exactly what it is that you're getting. I want you to know what the networks are. I want you to know that when it says you have a $5,000 deductible per person per family member, that means that you're going to have to pay your monthly premiums plus $5,000 in medical expenses before you ever get a penny from the insurance company. Okay, most people don't understand that. That's what a deductible is. Okay, that's a pretty big deal, right? So you pay $350. I mean, in reality, for a family of four, it's probably like $6 or $7, $850 a month, and you have a $5,000 per person deductible, or a $13,500 deductible for the entire family. Well, that means you're spending well over $20,000 a year in medical bills, before the insurance company's paying a dime. But there are other plans out there, and that's kind of what I'm here for, right? Is because that is, my job is to help people shop every plan and all their plans and explain to them exactly what everything means. what is an HMO, what is an EPO, what is a PPO network, what are all these things. And that's my number one goal with starting all of this, is to be the person that you can call on and depend on, and know that I'm always going to shoot straight with you, because it's not about money for me. I don't care about money, right? Like, I know I'm going to get all the money I'm ever going to need. It will come to me, because I'm always going to do the right thing. And people that do the right thing get rewarded from all aspects of life. And I've come to realize that, through trials and tribulations. Once again, with the gospel stuff there, don't ever want to get that twisted. I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but I respect the First Amendment, and I believe that everyone should be able to, be entitled to that. But like I said, yeah, my number one goal with getting into this and to starting these different channels and social media, which I am not a big fan of, as many of you know, is I just want to educate people, right? I want to be the person that you can call, and just know that if you have a question, you just give me a call and say, hey, Nate, what the hell does this mean? Am I in a good spot here? And if you are, I'll be the first one to tell you you are in a great spot. And if you're not, you can ask any of my lady friends, who come and ask for my opinion on how you look. I am not a person to come to, unless you want to hear the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, but I believe in always being brutally honest and truthful, because that's how people learn and that's how people grow. And I believe if you're not growing, you're dying. So I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. I'm never going to lie to you or BS you. I'm always going to give it to you straight, right? Where I can come in huge is that, some of the plans I have access to on the private side, if you can get approved, they are health-based coverage. They are on one of the largest PPO networks in the country, which is Preferred Provider Organization, which simply just means nationwide coverage. It's the only coverage of all four of the networks that will actually provide you nationwide coverage. And like I said, you're going to get things like preferred rates, low to $0 deductibles. The plans are pretty much fully customizable. But I just want to be able to educate people, right? Health insurance there's so much uncertainty, so many things that people have no clue about. And I want to just help you out, right? Like, just give me a call or shoot me a text, DM, whatever we're calling it these days. And ask me, hey, Nate, what's this? Can you look over this plan for me? Gladly. Chances are, if you're on employer coverage and it's just for you as a single person, you're in a great spot. However, what they don't tell you about employer coverages is all employer coverages is marketplace plans. And if you add on spouses or dependents, you're paying full marketplace value for them, and that's when it starts to get very expensive. And then once again, you're still looking at massive deductibles, the amount of money you have to spend before an insurance company kicks in a dime. You're going to usually be on an HMO network, which is going to be very restricted, typically to your zip code, maybe a few surrounding zip codes. And that's where I really help people out a lot is helping families where, okay, you get great employer coverage for the employee, but my monthly premiums are looking at like $900 to $1,100 for a family of four. Well, if you think about it like this, right? Think about it like a good driver discount. If you're healthy, should you be in a risk pool of a bunch of unhealthy people and paying for their medical cost, right? Because like if I have 4 DUIs, you've never had it, you have a flawless driving record. Should we pay the same thing for auto insurance? Absolutely not, right? I should pay 5 to 10 times probably more than you. Actually, I probably shouldn't even be driving at all at that point if I have 4 DUIs. And if I ever do, I mean, I never will, but if I ever did, please someone take my license from me forever. But that's one quick analogy that's, basically can summarize pretty easily what I'm able to do for people. That's where I specialize. But once again, when I say the word specialize, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to put you in the best position possible. If we can find you a marketplace plan, you're going to get a $1,200 a month subsidy because, you just get government assistance, things like that. I'm not going to put you on a private plan where you're going to have to come out of pocket and it's going to take food off your table. That's not how I roll. I'm always going to put you in the best spot possible. Character, integrity, these are things that mean more to me than any amount of money. My personal name and branding is which this social media is. That means more to me than any monetary value or item or device or anything like that ever could. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this part, Javi, I hope it was everything you needed, maybe hopefully a little more, but we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. I hope you're going to chop, screw, and do all your fine whining and dining. But yeah, so thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from anyone and everyone soon. You ever have comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to either post below, send me a direct message, or my phone number is all over the internet. So you can always reach out directly to my direct line, which is 941-962-0999. The way I advise all my clients is after you dial 911, you dial 941. That's me. You worry about getting healthy. Let me worry about all the other stuff. And that's what we do, right? Because we become a team. When I do sign you up for a policy, you get me as well. It's kind of just like a little extra added benefit. You won't find my name anywhere on the brochure, but in my very unbiased opinion, I am definitely one of the better parts that comes with it. So once again, thank you very much. I hope you all have a great day with everything that's going on with this coronavirus. I want everyone to please stay safe. Social distancing is real. And it's nothing to be joking about. So once again, thank you very much. Have a great day. Please like, comment, share. Javier, if you decide to post any of this stuff, that's fine. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and throw that post, comment, share, all the likes, all that fun stuff. And also too, I guess I should probably throw this in there that I am licensed in in 32 states. So just because we live here in Florida or wherever the case doesn't mean I can't help someone somewhere. So always feel, and if even if you live in a place where I can't help you, technically by getting you on the private coverage, I can still direct you and point you in the right direction and definitely make sure that you're in the best spot regarding your health coverage. So thank you very much once again.